Hello and welcome to story number 10. I call this The Man on the Bridge, because that's what it's about. Actually, it's about a little bit more than that. This is story 10 and 11 are going to be about guardian angels. They were either guardian angels or they were men that spontaneously materialized, saved my life, and then pretty much vanished. So you could call them whatever you want, guardian angels or just good men that showed up to help me out. All right, story 10. At this point in my life, I was living in Charleston, West Virginia. I was 8 years old in this story. The next one, it was my Army years. But this one, I was 8. My parents moved around a lot when I was growing up. I started out in Virginia, Fredericksburg, moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and there my father moved to San Jose, California. From there, he moved to Charleston, West Virginia, a little closer to our roots. And from there, after Charleston, we wound up in upstate New York, where I've been pretty much most of my adult life, and I'm at. So on this particular summer day, an 8-year-old me was walking across, or actually was going to walk across the railroad bridge that went from our side, South Charleston, across the Kanawha River to the other side of the river, I guess North Charleston, or just Charleston. Actually, the kind of metropolitan part of the city was on the other side of the river, and it was just kind of housing and some factories back then where I lived. So I decided I was going to cross that bridge and see what's on the other side of the river. And I'm pretty sure my parents would not have approved of this, but they didn't know about it. So now I got to this bridge, and the bridge itself was flat like this table. It had 2 sets of railroad tracks, and there was no walkway for anybody, and there was no built-up rails or any structure built up, just a flat expanse going across the river, and with 2 sets of tracks on it. So I'm walking down the tracks, right? I get about halfway across the river, and the Kanawha River is a pretty big river. It's not like the Hudson or the Mississippi or anything like that, but it's a pretty good sized river. I get about halfway across, and 3 teenagers were coming from the other side of the river, and we met halfway across we encountered each other halfway across the bridge. And these kids looked like they were about 17 or 18, and I was 8. So 2 of the guys grabbed my arms, one on that side, one on that side, and they started laughing. They were kind of hysterical. They might have been on drugs or something. They were white teenagers, white guys. I try to be descriptive in these, just because, for the story's sake. They were going to throw me off the bridge. And they were laughing, and they were pretty wild, and they were trying to build up their nerve to toss me off the bridge. And like I said, one had this arm, one had that arm, and there really wasn't anything I could do. They had me right on the edge. They're going to throw me over. And I looked down, and I'd say the bridge had like a wooden structure, went down into the water. Looked to be about a 20-foot drop or so. The river itself was very brown, very dirty, and had a current. And I figured I wouldn't live through it if they did. I made an assessment, even at 8. I assessed the situation. I really didn't think they'd do it, except when the 3rd guy that was standing behind us started pleading desperately with them not to do it. And they'd turn around and tell him to shut up. And he kept saying, "Come on, guys, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it." And they'd turn around and tell him to shut up. And they said, "Let's do it. All right, ready?" And that's when I heard him, because I knew he knew them. And he seemed to think they were going to do it. That's when I got worried. And these 2 guys said, "Let's do it." And the guy said, "All right, let's go." And just then, this man yells out, "You let him be!" And he only said it once. He said it loudly, like a voice of command. And that man was about 20 feet away from us on their side of the river. And we were all surprised, even me. We don't know where he came from. There's no way. There's nowhere to hide. You would have seen him a long time ago. And he was only about 20 feet away. These guys, all three of these guys, teenagers and me, looked at him, and those guys looked terrified. I mean, they instantly let go of my arms, and they honestly looked really frightened. And they took off running, but, oddly, they ran towards him, not away from him. They ran past him, and they ran all the way back the way they came to the other side of the river where they presumably lived. The man himself just stood there with his arms at his side, and he was still looking at me. He never moved, never said another word, just stood there. And I remember what he looked like. Descriptive. Medium height, that's to say he's about 5'10" or so. Average height. Medium build, maybe a little on the thin side. He had a long sleeve button-up white shirt. He had black pants and black shoes. And his hair was dark, medium length. And he looked like he might have been Italian or somebody Mediterranean, kind of, honestly. And he just stood there. He never moved, never said another word. And those guys were way behind him running off. And I turned to leave. I thought, oh, I got to thank him. Maybe 2 seconds later, I turned around, he was gone. I turned around and said, thank you, sir. You call people sir back then, especially if you're a kid. And he was gone. And there was nowhere this man could have vanished to. Or he could vanish. I mean, could have gone to. Unless he jumped off the bridge. There's nowhere to hide. I mean, all I could see was those three kids way down the track now, headed, still running, back the way they came from. And this man vanished. And that's all there's to it. He vanished. So I think he was some kind of spirit. Saved my life, probably. Guardian angel. Either way, I was thankful to him. So I turned to walk home, and I remember, I did walk home, and I remember getting almost to the far end of the bridge, back on our side, and I had a big smile on my face, and I was thinking that I had just had a very special encounter, something to cherish, something to remember. And like my first story with the two beautiful angels standing in the stream. And I really felt special, like, hey, this is a little treasure, like that. Life's little treasures to share with people. Now, I haven't told too many people about this story, but I've told a lot about the two majestic angels in the stream. Now, I want to point something out that occurred to me the other day when I was thinking about making this video. The first two angels were standing in the stream in the Sandia Mountains. And this man was over a bridge, over the Canal River, standing over the water on the bridge. And the next story is about an old man in a swamp who saved my life, most likely, in a parachute mishap I had, of all things. Old black man. And he also was in the water. Coincidence? I don't know. So there's something else. That's story 10. Story 11, hopefully I'll get it out. It's going to be about the old man in the swamp. Story 12, I'm not sure. I know there were some more stories I wanted to share. I'm just not sure of the order. So that's it. What's the purpose? Does it teach a lesson? I don't think so. It's just a story. Maybe increase your faith a little bit. There are guardian angels, or there are good people. Either way, there it is. Think of it what you will. All right.